Hey, this is Bobby Karan, and today I'm going to be going over how to set up a brand new domain and in Windows Server 2019. So it's mostly going to be screen capture of the server that we're working on. So let's jump right into it.
One of the first things I want to go over is that Server 2019 requires DFSR. So we're gonna, if you're adding it to an existing domain, then you're going to need to do these steps. And I will probably put this under the video as well. So the first thing you're going to need to do is raise the parse functional level to at least 2008 R2. Check the current status with this command right here. Which you should not have a status yet. So then you're going to do dfsr-mig/set global state 1. You're going to get the migration state. It can take 10-15 minutes depending on the health of your domain controllers. So this is the first step to do here. So if you want to get a screenshot of that, or I will have it in below the video. Alright, so in order to start setting up a domain controller, first going to open Server Manager. So while this is starting up, one of the first things that I would say is never assume the current environment is set up correctly. One of the things I like to do is always run dcdiag. So you can do a check. This is a fix. Make sure your domain is healthy, and then check group policy. So make sure all policies are readable, all that good stuff. This is if adding to an existing domain. So the next thing we want to do is set a static IP on the domain controller. Since this is a AWS server, we're not actually going to set a static IP, but we do need to set these. So what you want to set these to are highly available public DNS servers. When you convert this to a domain controller, these are going to be your forwarders. For your DNS. Alright, so with Server Manager open, we'll go to Add Roles and Features. Click Next. It is role-based. This is the server we are on. We're going to do Active Directory Domain Services, which adds a whole bunch of other stuff in there. And we're going to do DNS. DHCP server is a possibility, but we can add that later. If you want dynamic DHCP, then you're going to select that. I usually like to put it on the firewall, just so it's not tied to a domain controller. But it is also possible that you want to add this here for more manageability and portability, because with a domain controller you can export and import the DHCP to move it. setting up on the firewalls is usually a little bit more manual and hands-on. Do we want to have group policy? Skip the advertisement for Active Directory domain services, Azure. DNS will replicate and install. Watch the progress there. And I will come back in just a second. You may want to go ahead and do check for updates. This is a VM or on-prem server. Definitely want to check for updates before adding to the domain. There we go, we got an update. Another thing to do is go to this PC. And you're going to want to change your computer name. Do something appropriate for your company. Something that indicates your OS and the role of the server. So it could be DC1, DCFS for domain controller and file server. Just make it something that you are going to be able to recognize when you see this server, this computer name, server name, that it is indeed the domain controller or the file server. So that is a good practice too. Naming it server 1, something like that, is not very future-proofed or future-friendly, because other people might come in, do not know what server 1 is, so make sure you have a good server name is always important. So let's go ahead and promote this to a domain controller. We've got the static IP. Rename the server to a OS and role-based. Such as S19DC. And then we can promote to a domain controller. We're going to have Quran.local as the domain. If adding to a new domain, we're going to add a new forest. We're going to use the .local root domain. Using .com or .net or .private or other such things may cause issues down the road. It may get people a little more difficult logging into your network. So just kind of keep with the .local. If you're going to be using any kind of web-based technology in the future, which you probably are, O365, Microsoft Exchange, any of these things are going to work better with the local domain, this .local. Your websites and everything else are probably going to work better that way as well. Especially if you have a hosted domain and public DNS for your .com, you don't want your local DNS fighting with your public DNS. So just keep it a short name here, because one of the things you do not want to do specialty products company .local. You don't want to give your full domain like that, mostly due to the fact that your employees may have to type that domain in at some point. So you want to keep it nice and short. If you're going to have subdomains, that can be added later, kind of with this. So we're going to go with that. Charon.local. Force functional level is going to be server 2016. This should offer a 2019 functional level, but it is not at the moment. So yours may offer a 2019 level. It's probably safer to go ahead and keep it at server 2016 for now. The DSRM password is just in case of recovery is needed, and you are going to want to make this something that is either thoroughly documented or easily guessed by people in your corporation or in your organization. Because we hope we never have to use this, but just in case, it needs to be well documented and easily found. Always going to have some kind of warning here on DNS. Just click next. Your NetBIOS name is the shorter version of your domain name, and it's one that users can type in to log on to. So instead of typing the Charon.local, they'll just be able to type Charon / and log in. We're going to go with next. These are usually fine to leave alone, unless you're planning on a really large domain with a good bit of complexity. You may want to put these into a data folder, a data drive, but 98% of the time, leaving those there is fine. Just going to review your options. Next, prerequisites to check are going to have a lot of little yellow caution signs. It's good to look over them. They are mostly just informational. The one you want to do is the green all pass, and go ahead and install. Alright, finished, and we're about to be signed out. So it is rebooting. Alright, we are back. The server has rebooted. Go into Server Manager. On Tools, we now have the Active Directory. So one of the first things we're going to do is open up Active Directory, Users and Computers. Now the folders here are containers. containers don't have much use as far as group policy goes. So we're going to build a new or a better Active Directory structure. So it is going to be Quran.local. So we're going to do an underscore and the domain name. SBS does it with my company. There's other ways you can name this, but I like to do the underscore and the domain. So what this does for us is puts this container up at the top. That's what the underscore is for. So we're going to do users. We're going to do computers. And we're going to do security groups. You'll notice all of these are OUs, which we can have group policy assigned to those. So under here, we can do employees. We can do vendors. And we can do service accounts. Under computers, we can do servers. Workstations. And remote desktop services servers. Remote desktop services servers are a very special class of servers that often require some of their very own group policy. So it's just easier to put them out here. And then we have security groups. Alright, so that's this pretty good structure. Under employees, of course, you can add locations. Such as that. One of the very first things we need to do, though, is copy the administrator account. And we're going to create a IT admin account. Give it a complex password. We can set that to never expire, as it is going to be a complex password. It is going to be a unusual account name. And we're going to take that and we are going to move it into the service accounts. On service accounts, we're not going to usually have any kind of group policy, folder redirection, anything like that. So that can that helps keep the admin account from being bogged down with group policy and other such things. So now we are going to log out. And log back in with the new. admin. Open Active Directory users and computers. Go ahead and pin that down here because it's going to get used a lot. Server manager, it is going to get used a lot. And we're going to go into users. And disable the administrator account. This prevents a major avenue of attack for hackers because the admin account is no longer there and available. But we have our Quran IT admin as a member of all of these. I like to go ahead and add backup operators. And that gives us a complete view of all of our roles. So Quran IT admin is now the domain administrator. Another thing that we need to look at is DNS. Also going to pin that to taskbar. Now forward lookup zones. These are our main computers here. This does have a static IP. But we're going to want to set aging and scavenging for all zones. 7 days is usually good. Apply these settings to AD integrated zones. And that was done by clicking on the server name up here. Let's go ahead and look at the properties here. Forwarders, and there is our two IPs that we put in for the DNS zones there. Note over here it is now its own DNS server. It does say we have no internet access. That is obviously untrue as we are connected to the internet. So here we want to go into properties. Make sure scavenge still resources is set. Zone transfers, we want to allow zone transfers to servers listed on the name servers tab. And automatically notify servers listed on the name servers tab. This just goes ahead and prevents a lot of potential issues. And it's basically just good practice to do. Alright, now we are going to get PowerShell back up. I see. Love this for note taking. One of the first things you want to do after disabling the admin account is to get the server to be a reliable time server. That command is what I was waiting for. Knowing your FSMA role holder is always a good thing. But this usually requires a command prompt. Type in CMD down here. Run as administrator. Do the we're going to set that to the manual peer list for ntp.org time servers. so that it's going to update public time. Now it did set it as reliable, yes. We're going to do that one more time. And we're going to start the time services. You can check the configuration with this, but we're going to check the manual peer list, and that is set to full. And considering time, we are going to want to look at adjust the date time. We are currently on UTC. Let's go to -6 for Central Time. See, this is not going to change. Therefore, we need something to force it to change. Alright, so what we're going to do, since the time zone did not change, we're going to use the TZUTIL command here. It's going to give us our time zone. Set the time zone. We're going to use this command. Ooh, insufficient privileges. Did I not run that as administrator? Always something. There we go. We are now on Central Standard Time. You can also find a list of what exactly the time zones are with the \L command. It does put up a whole list, so be prepared to scroll the line. So now it is a reliable time server. We own the FSMO roles. And it is ready to serve as a domain controller. Now, I would go ahead and go back and run the DC diag commands. Just to make sure everything is healthy. Some commands you may also want to use if you are adding this to a new domain or to an existing domain. You would want to move the operations master role with this command. That moves 4 of the that moves 5 of the 7. So there are 2 FSMO roles that often get overlooked. So as admin, we want to go ahead and run ADSI edit. We're going to connect to. I'm going to leave this as is. Connect that one. We're also going to connect to DC equals domain DNS zones. DC equals Quran, and DC equals, we're going to name this domain zone. Go to settings here, copy that. And we're going to connect to forest. Change domain to forest. We'll see where we have in infrastructure. Go to properties and the FSMA role holder. This is already set to our server here. But if we're moving, we also need to edit this by just replacing the CN computer name with the new FSMA role holder, and the same up here as domain. Those can have some adverse impact if you're looking to decommission a server or upgrade the FSMA roles. And those are the two hidden FSMA roles that a lot of people overlook and never think about again. Alright, I'm going to put up a document with some troubleshooting things, how to set the time, and other such things here. But this is a pretty good list of how to set up a good Active Directory domain. Pin all this stuff here. Pin PowerShell. One of the most important things, I think, is the structure here. The inconvenience is going to be whenever you join a computer to the domain, you need to go to the default computers OU and drag it to where it needs to go. And you will need to do the same with users. They use you to just pre-populate in here. There's also some PowerShell to import users, which would put them into the OU that you need them in. So I will post that script also in this post. Alright, I think that pretty much covers it. So leave some questions in the comments, and I will answer any questions I can. Thank you.
Alright, so I hope this was a helpful overview of setting up a new domain controller, and some of the best practices. So, as I said in the screenshots, leave some questions in the comments below, and I'll see you back in. Thank you.